Imagine a world bathed in the glow of endless papyrus scrolls, where the greatest minds of antiquity gathered under one roof. This was the Library of Alexandria, not just a building, but the beating heart of the ancient world's intellect. It was a beacon of knowledge, a repository of human thought, philosophy, science, and art. For centuries, it housed an unparalleled collection of texts, drawing scholars from across the known world. But this beacon was extinguished. Through a series of tragic events, fires, political turmoil, and neglect, the world's greatest collection of knowledge was lost forever. Its destruction is considered one of the most profound intellectual catastrophes in human history. We lost not just scrolls, but entire branches of thought, scientific discoveries, and literary masterpieces that could have reshaped our world. The silence left behind by its ashes echoes through the centuries, a constant reminder of what we lost. But what if it didn't happen? What if, in a pivotal moment, a different choice was made? A fire was quenched, a decree was reversed? What if the Library of Alexandria was saved? Let's step into a timeline that could have been. In this reality, the flame of knowledge never faltered. Instead, it grew, nurtured by generations of dedicated scholars. Imagine Archimedes' texts on mechanics not being lost, but expanded upon. Picture scholars in the Roman era, not just preserving Greek knowledge, but actively building upon it. The library becomes a perpetual university, a global hub where ideas cross-pollinate across centuries. In this alternate world, the Dark Ages never descend upon Europe. The intellectual continuity from the classical era means there's no reset button on science and philosophy. By the 5th century, scholars are not just copying old texts, they are pushing boundaries. Fueled by Hero of Alexandria's early steam engine designs, which were preserved and studied, a limited industrial revolution begins to stir in the heart of the Byzantine Empire. Complex clockwork mechanisms, steam-powered pumps, and automated looms become a reality, not 1,000 years later, but right then. This isn't just about machines, it's about a mindset. Scientific method, which in our timeline took centuries to formalize, becomes ingrained in Alexandrian scholarship much earlier. Astronomy would leap forward. With access to centuries of meticulous Babylonian and Egyptian records, combined with Greek geometry, Aristarchus's heliocentric model of the solar system isn't dismissed as mere speculation. Instead, it becomes the foundation of astronomical study. By the time we reach the year 1000, astronomers in this alternate timeline have developed powerful telescopes, not crude spyglasses, but finely crafted instruments with polished lenses. They chart the moons of Jupiter and the rings of Saturn centuries before Galileo. The universe is understood not as a divine mystery, but as a grand, intricate clockwork, waiting to be understood. Medicine also undergoes a radical transformation. The works of Hippocrates and Galen are not treated as infallible dogma, but as starting points for empirical research. The library's scholars, with their emphasis on observation and experimentation, conduct anatomical studies forbidden in our timeline's medieval period. They understand circulation, identify microbes, and develop primitive forms of inoculation. Plagues that devastated our world are either contained quickly or prevented altogether by a society that understands sanitation and germ theory. Life expectancy soars, and the quality of life for the average person is unrecognizable compared to their counterparts in our history. As this world approaches its equivalent of the Renaissance, it's not a rebirth of lost knowledge, but a continuous explosive acceleration. Scholars like Leonardo da Vinci wouldn't be rediscovering Vitruvius. They would be collaborating with engineers who have been building on his principles for a millennium. The printing press, when it arrives, doesn't just spread ancient texts. It disseminates cutting-edge scientific journals from the University of Alexandria to emerging centers of learning across the globe. Exploration is not driven by a search for spices, but by a scientific curiosity to map the planet, understand its ecosystems, and discover new forms of life armed with advanced navigational tools based on a precise understanding of the globe. Let's visualize the world of today in this alternate timeline. Cities are not sprawling concrete jungles, but masterpieces of architectural genius that blend Greco-Roman aesthetics with principles of sustainable, futuristic design. Imagine gleaming white marble structures, adorned with classical columns and friezes, but soaring to incredible heights. Flying vehicles, sleek and silent, navigate designated sky lanes between these magnificent buildings. Their designs inspired by ancient ornithopters sketched out in preserved texts. Public spaces are filled with lush gardens, aqueducts that function as both art and infrastructure, and agoras that serve as vibrant centers for public discourse and debate. There's a profound sense of harmony between nature, technology, and humanity. Technology in this world is not just advanced, it's different. It's more organic, more elegant. Power comes not from burning fossil fuels, but from clean, efficient sources like geothermal energy advance. Solar collection, inspired by Archimedes' legendary heat ray. And perhaps even early forms of atomic power are understood and managed with a wisdom cultivated over centuries. Medicine has conquered most diseases that still plague us today. Genetic editing, developed from an unbroken line of biological study, is used to eliminate hereditary illnesses. Lifespans are extended not just by a few years, but by decades, with health and vitality maintained well into old age. Culture and society are also profoundly different, with a continuous history of philosophical inquiry from Plato and Aristotle. Amplified by centuries of global dialogue, humanity has a deeper understanding of ethics, governance, and social justice. The concept of human rights isn't a recent invention. It's a deeply rooted principle refined over 2,000 years of unbroken debate. Art is not a reaction to periods of darkness and oppression, but a continuous celebration of human potential. We would have epic poems that dwarf the Iliad, plays that make Shakespeare's works seem modern, and philosophical insights that we are still striving to reach. The world is more unified, not through conquest, but through a shared heritage of knowledge and a collective pursuit of understanding. Now, let's pull back from this fascinating vision and return to our own timeline. The contrast is stark and sobering. This breathtaking world of progress and enlightenment is a ghost, a phantom of what could have been. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria was not just the loss of books, it was the theft of a future. It represents the fragility of knowledge and the catastrophic cost of ignorance, conflict, and neglect. Every lost scroll was a potential solution, a new idea, a different path we could have walked. We are still piecing together the fragments of what they knew, rediscovering concepts they had already mastered. The story of Alexandria is a powerful lesson. It teaches us that preserving knowledge is not a passive act of storage, but an active, vital responsibility. Every library, every archive, every museum, every school is a modern-day Library of Alexandria. They are sanctuaries for our collective memory and springboards for our future. In an age of digital information, where data can be both instantly accessible and terrifyingly easy to erase, this lesson is more important than ever. We must be vigilant guardians of our history and culture, ensuring that the lights of knowledge are never again extinguished. The future that was lost with Alexandria can inspire us to build a better one, to ensure that our own legacy is one of creation, not destruction. Let's champion the pursuit of wisdom, protect our shared heritage, and continue to build upon the foundations laid by those who came before us. Thank you for watching. This journey through an alternate history sparked your imagination. Consider liking this video and subscribing for more explorations into the what-ifs of our past. Let us know in the comments what other historical turning points you'd like us to explore. Till next time, keep questioning.